I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. As we look back 17 years to the tragedy that was 9/11, we vowed to never forget, and that rang true at one of our local fire stations as some Detroit Red Wings joined the commemoration. Ann Arbor's Fire Station 1 welcomed Red Wings Dylan Larkin, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Anthony Mantha during their Hockeytown Cares community tour.
We're just giving back to community. We came in, it's 9/11 today, so they had a quick ceremony for us here at the fire station, and to remember the lost ones, that was a great moment.
After the ceremony, the boys went head-to-head against your AAFD.
We got the chance to play a friendly game or competition against 4 firefighters, so it was actually awesome. We had to hit a tire, pull 165 dead weight, and then Bertuzzi had to pull that rope through, I think it's 25 meters. So it was a great morning.
The Detroit Red Wings had the honor of donating $3,500 to the Great Lakes Burn Camp on behalf of the Ann Arbor Fire Department.
We have such a big fan base around Michigan and even outside Michigan that it feels great for us to give back. It feels good to see smiles on everyone's faces, even on days like today. Obviously, we remember 9/11, but after that, we gave smiles, a couple autographs, couple pictures with people around here, and everyone's just happy to have us. And I mean, even us, we're happy to be here. Stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly with more news and information. We're lucky enough to have beautifully maintained public pools in this area to cool us on those hot summer days. But what about our furry friends that have to endure that endless heat? Burr Park Pool went full canine during the 14th annual Dog Swim.
We're here for the dog swim today. We come out every single year after the pool closes. It's my dog's favorite day of the year. He loves to swim, loves to chase around the other dogs.
We had a lot of people request dog swim, and we thought it would be a good idea after it's closed to humans, to at least before we drain the pools, to let the dog swim for a couple days.
We took our dog to the pool here today so she could cool down and become a little bit more social since she's just a puppy.
With tails wagging, Dog Swim is like a pooch yappy hour.
My dog goes crazy the entire time that we're driving here when he knows that we're coming here, because he sees the towels in the car. And then when we get here, he can't wait to get out here, and he's progressed from needing to be coaxed into the water to flying in with reckless abandon after a tennis ball.
I think her favorite part was probably just running around in the pool and then just cooling off, I guess, because it's a hot day, and then meeting some new dogs.
It's a great community time for you to bring your dog. A lot of people who enjoy the dog parks around the city. This is kind of a unique event for them. They can get in the pool, socialize with other dogs.
We're heading back to school, and now is the time to review some measures to keep everyone safe throughout the year. Learn some back-to-school safety tips in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi everyone, I'm Officer Jamie Atkins with the Ann Arbor Police Department. It's that time of year again. It's time for kids to go back to school. Here are some basic traffic safety tips we should all remember. First of all, be alert, especially when you're in school zones, and be alert of the speed and make sure you obey that speed limit. Also, watch for school buses. Red flashing lights and an extended stop arm mean that that bus is stopping to load or unload children. We have 19 different locations across the city that are staffed with crossing guards. They help cross our children and get them safely to school. If you see a crossing guard in the intersection with their stop sign held up, make sure you stop and wait until that crossing guard has cleared out of the intersection. Don't block crosswalks. If you're stopped at a red light, waiting to turn, or looking for a parking space, make sure that you steer clear of the crosswalk so that people don't have to walk around your vehicle and possibly put themselves into moving traffic. Remember, folks, it's our job to keep kids safe as we go back to school this fall. Thanks everybody for watching, and parents, I hope you have a great and safe start to your school year.
For over 100 years, the Boy Scouts have been molding our youth into the leaders of tomorrow. The organization holds its supporters in high esteem and yearly awards one person for all their hard work and dedication they put back into the community. Joining me is Martha Darling, this year's recipient of the Boy Scouts of America Distinguished Citizens Award. Welcome to the show, Martha.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your background in volunteering?
Sure. It goes back to parents, usually, and other family friends, the role models that you have as a child to make it seem natural to try to give back in small ways that are appropriate, age appropriate, to the community. And that has always been very rewarding to me, and I think that's one of the bedrock ideas behind scouting service. But it's obviously a two-way street, and that's probably the most important thing to say about it. As much as you spend your time and treasure in volunteering for organizations that you have a deep interest in, you get back so much because of the pleasure of seeing what those organizations do. It's high leverage because they mostly reach out well beyond what you could do individually, and collectively you see a lot of improvement in the community. A friend of mine once observed, none of us is as smart as all of us, and I think that's what is one of the major driving forces of American volunteerism.
Where were some of your passion projects?
Well, not just were, but are still. If I were to think about them, they are in broad fields, education broadly, but especially right now, early childhood education, 0 to 5, because the stakes are so great and the inequalities are so great. We spend the rest of the school years making up for the inequalities kids bring to school. And they're inequalities that come out of unequal experiences and the unequal ability of families to support their kids. So this is a great investment for all of us collectively to make for the good of our future. So Success by 6 here locally is an organization I'm very involved with. But I am also keenly interested in the arts, broadly speaking, ranging from the Ann Arbor Symphony to the Michigan Theater and to the Sphinx organization, among others in the community. And they all have different points of focus, but they are all very valuable. And again, there are elements of education behind those. I am also very passionate about the environment, which happily is a heavy overlap with scouting and the exposure of kids to the natural world, which is so difficult in today's society with screens everywhere and with kids programmed seemingly from dawn to dusk.
Oh yeah, this is one of the things, because I have a 2-year-old daughter where I'm like, when I was a child, I couldn't just record a show and watch it any time of the day. So yeah, it's a totally different dynamic that you as a parent didn't have to deal with. And so it is hard to juggle that with kids these days, where they're like, well, if I can have it right now, I want it right now. But I think let's talk about the Scouts and your rich family history with them.
Well, it goes back to my grandfather, who was actually born before scouting was invented in the United Kingdom. He became a scoutmaster, and I don't know what the story behind that is, except that he was a PhD biologist who was a professor at a college, and he decided to devote some of his efforts to being a scoutmaster for the Boy Scouts. So he has been recognized subsequently as the Order of the Silver Beaver. It's something close to that, which is the highest honor in scouting for a non-scout. But he provided those troop leader skills and a certain amount of mischief for many years. and my father became an Eagle Scout from that troop. The tradition then came on down to my brother, who became an Eagle Scout. His two sons are Eagle Scouts, and my son is an Eagle Scout. So it's pretty interesting, because I think fewer than 10% of boys who get involved in scouting actually reach the Eagle rank.
Yeah.
So they have to work quite a bit. And
yeah, it's a lot of work, and it takes a big chunk of your life, of time doing it. But I think it helps mold you into the adult you are.
Well, when I think about scouting, I think that the elements are service, learning, and leadership, but with a large element of the natural world as part of that. And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
It does require some serious leadership commitments by adults to make sure that the environments are reasonably safe. Not totally safe, but reasonably safe and age appropriate, and that kids can move through and experience success and learn a lot and give back. One of the key things I think that is involved in scouting is giving kids, and it's going to increasingly be girls as well, and Girl Scouts has done this also, giving them opportunities at an age that they don't usually have the opportunity to develop leadership skills. And not by studying them, although you do some sort of studying, but by modeling them and learning on the job, as it were, with appropriate adult supervision and more responsibility as you get the skills and aptitudes that are behind that.
Can you tell me what the Boy Scouts Distinguished Citizens Award is and how it felt to be honored?
Well, first of all, to be honored is just terrific. It just makes you glow because of the recognition, and also it provides a shaft of light on some really terrific organizations that you yourself are involved in. Because I am nothing without the interaction with these organizations, and this community is so rich in opportunities for people to be involved in volunteer roles in ways that fit their schedules. I'm fortunate that I've had the time. I'm retired from the Boeing company, and so I've been able to devote a lot of time to the kinds of things in the community that allow me to feel I'm giving back and helping great organizations to become even better. So, but again, it's an opportunity that is wonderful if you can take advantage of it, and I've been very fortunate.
And only one person gets honored a year, right?
Yes, although in this year is the first year that a business is being recognized, and that's the Bank of Ann Arbor, and I'm sure you're scooping them up in the process as well.
So why don't you tell me why it's important to have the Boy Scouts and to keep that sort of legacy alive as we go on into the future?
Well, and it's an interesting question, because the Boy Scouts have, to a degree, they started falling out of favor maybe 20, 30 years ago, as other things have competed for the time of kids, and again, the role of parents in helping both guide cub dens and scout troops has been circumscribed by their own realities in an economy that hasn't always been friendly. And obviously, putting bread on the table is the first thing that families really worry about, and getting kids out into orienteering and camp and all of the rest of the traditional scouting activities is something that is what you might call is down the scale on the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Nice to have, but in the overall scheme of things, it's not in the top priorities. And so the question is, how can we approach the goals of scouting in the 21st century in recognition of the reality, and in recognition that not all kids have parents who are able to get them to scout meetings or to volunteer, but that should not be a disqualifying factor for their ability to participate. So I think it's more and more important so kids do become familiar with a much broader swath of what America is. The badges that kids have to earn in order to move up the track are quite impressive as far as an array of knowledge about our country and its diversity and its history, ranging from, and in fact I think there's one wonderful thing that should be shared. My son, on getting Eagle, received some letters from other people who had been in scouting and valued it, ranging from President Ford, which is fabulous, but to Steven Spielberg, who I think attributed to the Boy Scout badge in filmmaking, getting a real start in something that he's obviously has a passion about and is fabulously gifted in.
Yes.
But I think boys and now girls are going to be able to discover interests that they never knew they had because of that exposure through being able to select out of a wide variety of topics things that they want to delve into. And again, they're things outside of the usual school-related topics, and I think they can make a well-rounded kid.
All right, well, thank you so much for being on the show, Martha, and congratulations.
Thank you again very much.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/watchctn. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.